Good morning. It's a chilly one here today. Got down into, I think the thermometer said 36 for a low, but there was a little patchy frost when we left the house this morning. So, yeah. I'm going to go, I got like 400 pounds of wheat to treat. It's just a matter of setting the box under it and push and go. So we're going to go take care of that real quick, and then we're going to go spread some fertilizer this morning. All right, well, there wasn't much left there. Just that little bit that was in that box. So we got that done. There's 2 more full boxes from yesterday sitting here. That's the last of the wheat that needs to head out of here. I assume that guy will come with his tender and want to just take that stuff. So that's it. That's all we needed to do. The wheat is done. We need to clean the treater up at some point, winterize it, that kind of stuff. But yeah, we don't have to do that right now. Okay, let's go spread. Burr, it is chilly. There's Brock. He's going to go do a little bit of mowing this morning. Put it on the trailer. And then he's going to take that tractor and head to Berkey. So we still got a big potash pile. We still got a bunch of gypsum. I could spread a little bit of that gypsum down, but we're not going to worry about it because we got potash to spread at Berkey. And we're all set up for fertilizer, so we're going to keep spreading fertilizer. So we got a pile in there. It's a little over 10,000 pounds that we need to get used up. And then we're taking this Berkey as well. They dumped a potash pile already, so. All right, I think we've got 3 fields that we've got to hit here. Okay, we are spreading. Like I said, this is going to do 3 fields. It's going to go a long ways. We're pretty low rates here, 120 pounds to the acre in this one. Then there's 40 acres here. There's 30 just up the road, and then another 18 acres. So they're smaller fields, but. Yeah, you'll notice these fields are turning a little green. That's a little ugly. Those are volunteer beans, and it looks really bad. I promise it's not as bad as it looks from a total loss standpoint. And these beans were all harvested when back in mid-September then, when things got really dry and we were fighting header shatter loss really bad, and that's what most of them are from. They aren't coming through the back of the combine. But when you're looking at stuff like this and you think, man, that looks terrible, you have to remember that when we plant soybeans, like actually trying to grow soybeans, we plant less than 1 bushel per acre. And so 1 bushel of loss per acre, which is on the higher side of the acceptable loss, but not horrible, is going to look like you planted the field. It's going to look like it's a solid seeding, and it's just going to be green. And this is not that. There is a lot, but there is also a lot of areas that don't have very much. So, yeah, we need a hard frost. That's what we need. I don't know if the frost we got this morning is going to do it. We need a hard frost. Finished up with that first field and moved on to this next one. There's nothing growing here. Can't really see anything in the spreader, but it is still in there. We can see it on our screen up here. I don't know. It's glary, so you probably can't, but I can. And I know we've got about 4,000 pounds left in there, which is not very much, but enough to finish this field and do another one, surprisingly. The next field, I think only 1 or 2 zones actually need to map, and part of it isn't getting anything, so it doesn't take much. So today's video is probably going to get really long, so I'll apologize for that right now, but something that I wanted to talk about today while we're spreading this MAP. So MAP is monoammonium phosphate. It is 11% nitrogen, 52% phosphate, and 0% potassium. This is what we use to increase the phosphorus levels of our soil. Phosphorus is a macronutrient. It's very important for the development of plants, but it's also very expensive. This is an extremely expensive fertilizer. And there's a lot of, I don't know if debate is the right word, but a lot of discussion about MAP in the ag industry, or not about MAP, but about phosphorus and fertilizers, and whether or not they're actually worth the investment, and how to free up phosphorus in your soil that's tied up and not plant available, and how much of this phosphorus in the MAP that we're applying now is actually going to be available to the plants for next year and stuff. And I guess I kind of understand some of those arguments and everything. But there's a lot of companies that have products, whether they're biologicals or otherwise, that their entire purpose is to break down the phosphorus in your soil and make it more plant available. So if you send a soil sample off to a lab, specifically to Midwest labs, but I'm sure others as well, they will run a test called a Bray test, or there's a P1 Bray and a P2 Bray. And they basically are testing the amount of phosphorus in your soil. And the P1 Bray is a relatively weak acid that breaks that bond, and then they can test how much phosphorus is plant available. And that's kind of the base number that we use for determining if we have enough phosphorus there to grow a crop or not. But there's also a P2 Bray that uses a stronger acid to break that phosphorus bonds, and it tells you how much phosphorus is in your soil, but not necessarily available to the plants. And so there's a lot of products out there that are designed to help break those bonds that plants can't do naturally and make that phosphorus more available to the plants. I am sure some of them have some efficacy and they actually work. But in my opinion, over time, then you're going to start depleting your P2 Brays, and eventually you're going to run out of that map. And a lot of those processes are happening naturally anyway, right? There's a lot of biology in our soil that's breaking down phosphorus and making stuff available to the plants, whether we add any additional biologicals or foo-foo juice to make those things happen at a faster pace. And you'll often hear these salesmen for these companies or some of the marketing materials say how the phosphate fertilizer that we apply, like this MAP, is only 20% available to your crop in the first year, or it's only 10% available to your crop, or whatever the number they want to use, even 50% available, whatever. Well, that doesn't bode well for the efficiency of this, right? If we're spreading a fertilizer that costs $900 a ton and only 10% of that is actually available, like, that's not great for us. We need it to be more efficient. But here's my argument. I apply some of this fertilizer where needed, as needed, on a yearly basis. Now, I won't apply this field again next year, and I won't apply the last field that we did again next year, but every 2 to 3 years that we have the crop going to corn and the soil test and everything, we're adding some MAP or some whatever fertilizer that we need. And so I have this constantly available supply, because even if only 10% of what I'm applying is available next year, maybe another 10% of it is available the year after, or maybe it's 25% the year after that. So we always have some of that coming available. If I was to completely eliminate the phosphate fertilizer for, say, the next 5 years and just use some sort of a biological product to break down that MAP in the soil, in my opinion, that sets you back for the next 10 years, because now you no longer have that MAP that was applied 5 years ago, 3 years ago, that's constantly breaking down and feeding it. So a lot of the fertilizer that we're applying, this is a long-term play, right? This is stuff that we are going to benefit from for the next 10 years, not just for the next year. So I kind of hate those arguments and those products. And I'm not saying that I've never used those products. I've never tried any of them, because I think there is some merit to some of that stuff. But I do not think it is a replacement for the phosphate fertilizer that you're putting out there, whether that's MAP, whether that's DAP, diammonium phosphate, or even the liquids in the spring with 1034O or my Infero pop-up starter that we're using that's high in phosphorus and stuff, because there's also some efficiency gains by banding that fertilizer, which is why we put it in a starter in a band right next to or right on the seed. That fertilizer is going to be, or that nutrients are going to be more available to the plant like that than making them search the entire soil profile for the granules that we're spreading out here right now. So it's got to be a balanced approach on the fertility side of this. You cannot expect one product or one method to supply everything for all your crops. And are there cheaper ways to do it? For a year or two, maybe. Are there better ways to do it? Probably. I'm not a soil scientist. I don't know everything there is to know about this, but I do know that what we have been doing is working. And until it's not, it's pretty hard to change and go away from it. Doesn't mean we don't try things. I do try new products. I use a lot of that source product That was primarily a nitrogen play, but they're also finding that it does have a lot of activity on phosphorus as well. And so efficiency is always a good thing. We want to be as efficient as we can, but not at the cost of my crops in 5 years from now or 4 years from now. We always have to be planning for the future as well. Anyway, after that 6-minute rant, this is going to be a long video. We're just finishing the last pass here, and we're going to pull out and go do the last little field, use up whatever map we've got, and then we're going to head back to the farm, fuel up, and then head out to the next, to Berkey, and go get in the combine. It's 10 o'clock already. Yeah, we're going to, about as soon as we get there, we might go grab some lunch, and we're going to go combine. You guys, I couldn't make it up if I tried. I could. Okay, we got that last stuff spread. There's still a little bit in the spreader. It's not a lot. It's not enough to worry about right now. We're running out of time. It's 10:45 already. I already wanted to be on my way to Berkey, and we're not. And I got a call from Brock a little bit ago. Brock, you'll remember when we left here, took the mower to go down and mow around that last bean field that we had finished up here. Let me remind you that it has barely rained for 2.5 months. We're really dry right now. I'm not going to say the driest we've ever been, but we are very, very dry at the moment. Brock called me a minute ago because he got stuck with the tractor and the mower. It's 44-4. Right. So, I'm telling you, I can't make it up if I try. So we're going to take the 7520 because it's the only tractor I have here that's not hooked up to something. And we're going to go get him rescued, pull him out. And then I'm thinking we're just going to take a pickup to Berkey. We'll worry about getting this stuff there tomorrow because I don't have time to mess with it today. It'd be 1 o'clock before we get there at this point. Yeah, maybe not 1, but still, like, I can't. How does that happen? Well, dang, he looks like he's about to tip the tractor over. We're on a rescue mission. Well, this is sort of bad here. That's a pretty deep hole, and we're in it, and we gotta figure out how to get this out of there without rolling this tractor over. So, I think we gotta go forward because I don't think we're going backwards. So, we're gonna get up here and try and pull out that way. But this is a little iffy. I didn't mean the other day that I hated this tractor so much I wanted Brock to roll it on its side, but you know. Well, we're gonna try and pull her straight forward here and see what happens. This makes me nervous. I don't know if I like what's gonna happen here, but we're gonna do our best, and I'm not gonna film it real good because getting it out of there is the priority, not the filming. But let's see what we can do here. We've got a good transmission for this where we can go nice and slow. Tighten up our chain. Oh yeah, she's gonna pop. Okay. Well, I got the tractor out of there. Now we've got to figure out how to get this mower over this hole without rolling it over. I don't know that holding that wing up like that is going to be the right thing to do. I don't know that putting that wing up like that's going to be the right thing. You might want to just leave it down and it's going to float over it a little better. Okay. We got it. We got it out. Everything looks to be okay. I stepped in this hole. We got another one here. And this is a new hole that we have not seen before, but we must have a broken tile or something. All right, we got to go to Berkey, combine beans, so we got to get out of here. Did you get that stuff in the back? Okay.
I was just going to take a half pass on this again since it's...
I understand, but it's just forget it. We got to go. We're not going to take the tractors, I don't think. We're just going to take a pickup. We're out of time. Oh, man. Well, he did manage to get stuck in dry conditions. Again, that's not the first time. He's done that before. But on this field, it was on this field he got stuck in dry conditions before. We got it out, thankfully. That was easier than it could have been otherwise. So, all right, we're going to take these back to the farm, take a pickup. Let's go break. Oh, let's go do this. Let's start combining. We made it to Berkey here. Dad and Phil are still working on grain system stuff and getting the bins ready, electrical all done. Dad had to go make another run to the hardware store, which I assume means Lowe's because that's the closest one to here. But we're going to start combining some beans here. Try and knock out a bunch of acres this afternoon. The goal is to do them all in 2 days. I don't know if we're going to make that, but we're going to try. From the cab, they look like really good beans. When you get out and look at them, there's a lot of 2-bean pods, a lot of flat pods, a lot of potential that never developed. That said, they're still pretty good beans. It says they're about 15%. That's a good starting point for the day. They'll keep drying from there. And they're running 75 right here. We'll see what our field average is or see what we get when we get through quite a bit of this, but it's a good start. We got to do end rows in the back. Brock's here, so he's going to run grain cart for us today. We got long rows, half-mile long rows, and we should be able to cover a lot of ground in a hurry. There's a little buck running up here. Can't tell, but it doesn't look too big. Now, I'm not taking all your cover, but you're going to start losing it pretty quick here. So the beans along this lot back here, this edge, are really poor. Is that wildlife and groundhog damage from earlier in the spring? Or is it a herbicide drift? Somebody cleaning up this edge here early in the year and burnt the crap out of our beans? Because it looks like somebody sprayed that edge and then a bunch of foxtails grew up later in the year. I don't know. I don't know which one of those things happened. Either way, these beans are crappy. Fortunately, it's a pretty small amount of them. Okay, so we got our end rows done. We're going to make a pass through the middle here because I want to be able to unload going towards the buildings, not away from the buildings when we're unloading on to go with the cart. I shifted over about a half a header width, though, and for good reason. If you look at our map here, we have a split planter situation, right, where we have kind of two different varieties, except for they're not varieties. It's a seed treatment. The pink is our normal treated beans. I think it was Cruiser Max Apex, inoculant, and probably the Heads Up. The brown has all of those things plus the Saltro. And so I'm trying to see whether the Saltro did us any good or not, any benefit here. And when it's a split planter, it's a 40-foot pass. The problem is if I start on the same side as the planter, which that first pass was, we're always going to be taking half a header width of each. So by shifting over a half a head here, now we're in a full header width of not Saltro beans. The next one will be the full pass of Saltro beans, but it's the guest row between the planter, right? Both of these, like there was, yeah. Anyway, it makes sense. It just means we're going to have a half a header width on that end of the field that we'll have to combine separate. It's okay. Well, for some reason that outside draper belt quit turning as I made my turn here. Did we get something jammed into it? Please don't be a woodchuck this time. What's going on here? Nothing stuck underneath. That plate there's a little bent up. Doesn't look bad. I wonder if our tension feels a little loose. What's going on here? Let's check the tension on the back of the head. We might just need to tighten it. Maybe. Well, it doesn't look terrible. We're in the green today. So, what's going on here? Found it! Got a rock. That did it. Just enough. Got wedged in there. See if it'll go. And probably plug the feeder house up. There it goes. Okay. All good. Well, it's gonna be a long day. These beans they're big. They got tall. They're a little bit. They're not really leaning over too much, but there's just a lot of material here to run through the combine. It's a little bit slow going. Going to take us a little while to get across this field, and most all the beans that we have down here are the same variety, so they're probably all going to be about the same. It's okay. They're pretty good beans. I mean, we're 67 bushel average so far. I will take that. Hopefully we get a little more sun and wind and things dry down a little bit. They're a little wetter than I would like, but I think they'll be down under 13% by the time we're done today. So, and as they dry, they might combine a little bit easier too. But our loss levels look really good. I would like to get that bushels plus pan out. I got it in Dad's truck, so maybe we'll do that a little bit later this afternoon. But we're just taking power, right? So this bar over here is our power meter, and we're running in the yellow quite a bit. At 3.3 miles an hour, just because there's so much material coming through the combine. So that's where we're going to run today, I guess. A lot of times if the beans are shorter, even if they're really good beans, where there's less material, we can run 4.5, 5 mile an hour sometimes. So this is kind of slow for me, but it's okay. Anyway, I'm going to jump over on a TikTok live stream for a while here, and then we're going to do a YouTube live later today, I think. And so the filming will be a little bit sporadic as we go throughout the day. Well, we're rolling right through this field here. We are, what are we at? 41 acres into it. They've been very consistent. There's not a ton of difference in the yield map up there, a little bit here and there. But yeah, overall, pretty consistent good beans at 67 bushel the acre. And if you're anything like the people on TikTok and my live stream, you're all saying 6, 7 right now, or my kids. That's what they do all the time. Whatever. I don't get it. Anyway, yeah, we're going to keep going here. I did do something cool. So on this John Deere combine, there is a feature called auto track turn automation. We've played with this a little bit in the past, but I thought we'd try it again here since we have nice big open square fields, and it's a good spot for that. So when we get up to the end here, I'll show you. It's working. It's cool. It's a gimmick, but it's cool. All right, so we are coming up to the end here. Now it's going to want to turn left. We've already done that, so we got to do that and make it turn to the right. Okay, there's a rabbit. Now it will not lift the head. There goes another rabbit. It will not lift the head, so we have to do that manually. So all I'm going to do, hit the number 1 button, and that's it. Hands off the steering wheel, all the controls. You guys can see them. It's following the line. And then we got to put the head back down. Number 2. I've heard there's an update coming that's going to allow that to do the head raise and lower itself as well, but it's not there yet. So anyway, that's cool. That's cool. Well, our dust is back. That's fun. Beans are drying. They're down to 14.5. I knew they would get drier throughout the day, but yeah, they're certainly dusty at the moment, aren't they? I hope the air filter on the 8RX is in good shape. Holy cow. Can't even see the tractor. It's there. Can't see it. Just barely. I know I just showed you this, but there is some trust in your grain cart driver when he is pulling up next to you and you cannot see the end of the head, the tracks, anything. This dust is crazy. Anyway, good thing for the machine sync. Once he's close enough, he just hits the button and it pretty well does it, and it's fairly trustworthy. So we're getting there. We got about 15 acres left in this field. Moisture keeps dropping. We're down to 13.5 now. It's about perfect. They're running pretty well. Yield's hanging in there, 66-ish, somewhere in there. I hear there's some John Deere salesmen sitting at the end of the field for me. Well, the John Deere salesman didn't actually come down here to talk to me. They stayed over by the trucks, and I wasn't driving over there just to go chat with them. So they sent stuff with Brock. We got a water, a Gatorade, a ham and cheese sandwich, or maybe that's turkey and cheese, whatever, and a hat. Thank you. Appreciate it. Green mark, take note. Well, we've made it to the end of this field here on our last pass, or there might be a little sliver left when we get to the other end. It's field's not square, but that's good. We do need to stop over at the fuel trailer and top off the DEF tank, and then we're going to jump over here. And we have a bridge across this ditch down in the corner over here, so we can get over to it without dropping the head. That's a nice thing. So yeah, 75 acres in this field. We've got like 95 or 98 in this little field. Then there's 42 on the corner that's connected to it, and then the last of it is right across the road from there. So we're going to be spending a lot of time right in the same spot here. It is 5:21, so should be a little before 6 o'clock when we're getting starting there. Hopefully we can work sort of late tonight. Just depends on the dew and the weather and everything. But yeah, if we could get 30, 40 acres done over there tonight, that would make a big difference for how we do tomorrow. We're gonna need to do more than that to get done tomorrow though. Yeah, I don't know, we'll see how we do. Got it done. In case you were wondering, the machine sync works even when you're not harvesting. We can really screw with them here a little bit. We're done. 66 this field made. Ended up dropping off a little bit towards the end, but that's okay. See if we can make the turn. Real gradual. It's going. The sun's gonna be so bad you're not gonna be able to see. Brock wants me to stop. Okay, watch this. I'm gonna shut the auger off and then turn hard. See if it makes him turn. He didn't do it. All right, we're gonna run over here to the fuel trailer. I think it's accessible where I can get to it, and we're gonna fuel her up, and then we'll jump over to the next field. Well, the bridge was worth it already. That bridge, we just put it in, it wasn't last summer, it was the summer before when we had wheat there and we tiled that field and stuff, but it saved me from having to drop the head to move, so that is a good thing. We're gonna open these back ends up. We gotta work our way around the front, get up to the building site over there because that's where we park trucks. And so we'll have to get a bunch opened up there so we can unload the grain cart and all that stuff, and take us a little while to work our way over there. I am going to jump on a YouTube live stream here, so hopefully you joined for that. If not, you can go back and watch it here on the YouTube, and we'll check in with you guys in an hour or two, I suppose, about the time it starts getting dark. Getting dark on us. Beautiful sunset tonight. Very deep orange. We're moving our way across here. We've got this second field opened up. We're about 24, 25 acres into it. They're decent beans. This is a field where we have a pretty big soil type difference. It's not an elevation, but you'll see this yellow area here. It's going to kind of taper off and round off here, and then it's going to extend all the way across these fields on the side here. But yeah, this stuff over here and this all in the back is going to be really good. So they're decent beans. We're still in the mid-60s, not quite as good as the last field, but we'll see where they end up at the end of the day. They are starting to get a little bit tough. I notice our yield loss monitor creeping up every now and then. I'm having to slow down, so our time in the field here is limited. I'm going to try and get a couple more rounds done, but I don't know how far we're going to make it. All right, I think we're going to call it here. They're just, I cannot get that to come down. And while that's not good, it's not the worst I've ever seen, but I trust that monitor because of the testing that I have done. And that's too much. So we're going to quit when we get to the end of this round. I don't think we quite got a truck full. I don't know how I'm going to get back to the farm, but whatever, that's not important, I guess. We'll figure it out. We ended up with 28 acres done in this field. That's a good start. Let's see, 28 plus 75. So we got over 100 today, but we did not get half of the beans at Berkey, which is pretty much guarantee that we are not going to finish tomorrow. Just not going to be enough hours in the day. I mean, it's 10 minutes before 8 o'clock. The sun is set. The beans are getting tough on me. And that's it. We got to call it. So we'll get close tomorrow, but we won't get done. Better go out and dust the windows. Those lights aren't doing a whole lot, are they? I guess you guys can't see it, but they're covered in dirt. It's better. I made it home here, so thanks for watching today. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to leave them down below. And we'll be back at it tomorrow. We're going to have another big day. We're on the beans. Like I said, we aren't going to finish them tomorrow, I don't think. But we'll get sort of close, and we should be able to finish pretty easily on Saturday, and then hopefully jump right into the corn from there. So that is the plan. That's the intentions. That's what we're going to try and do. And if you have any questions or comments, feel free to leave them down below. Make sure you check out the shorts from yesterday. I got a little ranty in one of them. And yeah, we'll see you tomorrow.